On Tuesday, I brought you the heartbreaking story of Grant, who's a poodle and shih-tzu mix. Two witnesses saw a driver literally pull up, stop the car, open the door, and throw the cage onto the curb. I spoke to John DeCando, the chief animal control officer for Paterson, and says that the ASPCA has taken over the investigation. They were able to, thanks to witnesses who took a picture of the car, get the license plate of that white Nissan. They were able to track it down to the owner. The woman happens to be in the hospital, but she told officials that it's her granddaughter who drives the car. So now they're going to be mailing thousands of dollars worth of fines to the home of the owner. I wanted to know how Grant was doing, so I chased it to the hospital. I went to the Oradell Animal Hospital, and when I got there, I met Violet.
I saw his picture, and I just had to get here and give some money to help him along.
She gave the check to Franny Lorita. She runs the Ramapo Bergen Animal Refuge.
I first saw him, he was on the floor, and he appeared to have no eyes. He had these horrible mats of fur over his eyes, and despite that and his weak condition, he made his way over and wagged his tail at me. So my first impression of him was that he was just so forgiving and loving.
Franny may seem familiar to many of our viewers, not because she runs this animal refuge, but because she's the sister of Caroline Manzo, known as star of Real Housewives of New Jersey.
My family is very generous with their fame, and they allow me to sometimes be on the show, which helps the animals out.
Grant was being showered with love. Grant was underneath a blanket.
He has made leaps and bounds in the past couple days. He's needed a transfusion. We have started feeding him, and he has quite the appetite.
Medical costs are absolutely astronomical for Grant, so I'm going to tweet out the GoFundMe page. Check out my Twitter. If you want to contribute, you'll find the link there.
So let me ask you, when you first looked at this story, I had this impression that this depraved person threw the dog out the window, but now the evidence and the witnesses are saying they pulled over and they let the dog out. It's one thing to have people that neglect animals and don't take care of them and they get to a point where they're near death. It's another to have somebody throw a dog out a window and try to kill them. Does that change how the fines are and how the government will treat this?
There is absolutely nothing commendable about the way Grant was tossed onto the curb.
Well, you see a difference. If I'm driving down the road and I throw the dog out in a moving car, which happens. As a matter of fact, there have been 6 or 7 incidents of that over just the past year.
You're trying to find a silver lining here, but there really isn't. And actually,
so what do you think, Allison?
Oh, Bill, that was really rude.
You know what? It's
that
so
was very
annoying.
rude.
You know what it is? It's annoying because you do see the difference between throwing an animal out of the car and placing an animal on the curb. There's a difference between that.
I have no words for you. Holy moly. There is no difference between maybe gently tossing and throwing a dog.
I agree, but I'm saying we've done stories on animal hoarding, and there are people with mental illness and difficulties. So there's a difference between a depraved criminal who wants to torture and hurt a dog and somebody that has a problem.